Alright folks, good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever this video finds you. I hope it finds you well. And yeah, I'm going to do a little speedrun, well, walkthrough type thing for Sonic Boom, because I think it's worth making. This game is fairly straightforward to learn if you just watch runs, but hopefully this will kind of answer any questions that you see and you're like, oh, this isn't quite working for me, or oh, I don't know how this works. So if you're already fairly confident of the route, this might just help reinforce some of the foundations. And if you know nothing about it, this is a good place to start. If you are already pretty confident with the run and you're looking to kind of really optimize, just look at the world records. I'm not going to be able to help you all too much with that. But yeah, first things we got to do is start a new save file. This music's so loud. And of course we start our runs at the start of story mode. Now the nice thing about this run is that we don't really have to do all too much at the start. Actually, some people would find this annoying, some people will find this really handy, because it means that, I don't know, there's a strange pacing to this run. Loading screens, yeah, they're not dreadful. They're not quite 06. But this opening cutscene takes a little while, and then we can skip.
You can't outrun me this time.
And then what the kids all like nowadays, Subway Surfers. So we just want to jump over these. There isn't really much that you can optimize, apart from trying to kind of like cut corners. So Sonic will always run at this speed, unless you get hit. So you need to avoid all of that. If he gets hit, he'll go at a slower pace, and then you'll need to hit a boost. Rings won't really do all too much for you. You don't need a whole load of them going into the next section, so we're just collecting them for the sake of collecting them at this point. Alrighty, we are going to go onto the first Sonic section, so we can skip that cutscene, and then we want to ready ourselves up and do this move. So that's us jumping, and then pressing X and then Y. Then we pause at the right time, and it sends us up here, and then we go down there. Let's just do it one more time so you can get a rough idea of timing on this one. A little bit too early there. That looks a little bit better. Not quite. A little bit too late. That looks right. There we go. So that's going to be happening a lot. You're going to be in this pause screen a lot. But the timing on enemies is going to vary a lot when it comes to getting those launches. More about that later. The best thing that you can do to learn this is do it a lot. Practice it a lot. The thing that we're skipping there is having to fight all of those guys. There's 2 waves, and that takes a while. And also, this gets us onto a spot where we can do our first couple of spin dash launches. I think they have proper names. I don't know what they are. So now that we're up here, we want to kind of maneuver our way down here. Make sure that we don't go too far down. And then we want to ready a spin dash. We can do it 2 notches. So he kind of revs up to different levels. You can do it to just 1. You can do it to 2. I just like to do 2 for the sake of safety. And then we pause. So I now don't have anything inputted. So I'm going to be pressing B, and then as soon as I do, hopefully Sonic will start launching himself, and we want to jump onto a platform in the distance. So let's see how that goes. Here we go. Alright, so this is where we want to land. If you want to get a better point of reference for where exactly that is, in Signal Kong's runs, he gets a much better camera angle. I don't know how, but he does. And then we get the launch all the way over here. So we do not want to go too far over to the right, because when you do the spin dash launches, you don't want to be right on the edge of the ledge. And this ledge kind of goes off into the invisible a little bit. As you can see, Sonic is walking on nothing right now. In fact, his walking animation just isn't happening. So we got some real estate here. So yeah, what we're going to try and do here is kind of maneuver around. So we're going... If we're thinking analog stick, it's kind of top right, and then we readjust after 1 jump. So let's do this. I usually do 3. We pause, jump, and then jump this way. And here we go. So now that we've done this, we have skipped a massive chunk of a tutorial section. if you don't feel confident with that and you're just starting off runs, just do the tutorial section. There is a backup I'll put on screen that Sly Sonic has done in her run, but yeah, it is, I don't know. I haven't found, especially with the point that I've got with my runs, I don't find it's worth doing. Little optimization here, we just do another one there. Don't really need to wrap it up because it gives us enough. So this is where we've done our main bit of sequence breaking, so we have most of the level not loaded in. So we are aiming, maybe I'll put something on screen for this, but we're aiming like there. But we need to kind of go to the side and then redirect. So the next movement that you want to do is a little something like this. And now that we are in here, you can see that we are not supposed to be in here because one of the characters are T-posing. Where's Tails? Tails is apparently flying, but he's not. So we were supposed to have done a fight by this point, but we haven't. So many Tails anyway. So now that we've done that, we want to actually save and quit because this loads in the rest of the level and it switches us over to a particular character that you're going to really, really enjoy. He really makes this run a bit of a cakewalk. We're going to be going over to the best boy, Knuckles, who has this infinite jump thing happening. And yes. So, for this section, you've got to get quite a bit of height with his maneuver. I will try and demonstrate how that works. So this is a combination of jumping. So you start off with a jump, of course. So Knuckles has got a double jump. But then you hit X and you pause. Wait, okay. Okay, yeah. Just had to remind myself. My muscle memory about these things is so bad. Shut up, Amy. So we want to double jump. We want to double jump and we want to press X. And then X. And then X. And pause. So we can get height with Knuckles, as you can see. And then we want to head for that corridor over that little hole in the ground. So there is a rhythm to this, because you don't always want Knuckles like going all the way to the top of his animation. But this is the rough kind of path that you want to take when it comes to Knuckles here, because if you don't go high enough, you will hit a trigger, and it will play things that we don't want to play. But that skipped a whole massive tutorial section, another cutscene we can pause, and we are in a fight. Now, I find the best thing to do here is to spin dash and try and kind of take out enemies as you go. His spin dash is really good for kind of, you know, getting additional enemies within there. This, we have got to get rid of 3 enemies before we can throw something at that statue. So I'm hoping that our team can help us out. It's all RNG on whether they help us, and there we go. That's just using A on the pad. And then a section where, as threatening as it might look, eventually, we don't really need to worry because these things can't hit us. We can get hit by these little green pellets. We got 100 rings. It's all Gucci. So, any time for donations? No? Okay. So, this is our first thing with Lyric. This is our first crown that we can skip. We don't need to get. It kind of slows your game down like by a fraction of a second. So probably best not to get it, but whatever. We're back in one of these sections. This is the last time that these sections will be somewhat normal. So we don't need to hold down forward in these sections, but we need to do our shifting to the left and the right with our shoulder buttons. With every running section going forward from here, we will have to hold forward as well. Why? I don't know. I don't know why they didn't just have all of them on rails like this. So, yeah. We are now coming to the end of this, and the lines won't play properly. And we'll skip that cutscene. Alrighty, so we're pretty much coming out of the first level, and we're going to have our first bit of hubboard movement. So all of those spin dash launches that we saw earlier, they are going to make up the next 5 minutes. 5 minutes of the run? I don't know. I'm not great with numbers. So we are now going to be on terra firma, none of these fooling platforms.
If anyone can tell us about what's going
And
on,
we are going to be heading for Cliff.
he's an archaeologist.
Amy's explaining it, makes perfect sense. So we are heading for that gate over there, and we are going to see how far we can get with a spin dash launch from here. So, of course, same again. I've paused here. I'm not holding anything coming out of this. I'm just going to try and jump at the best time.
What is that thing over there?
So we didn't quite make it. That's all right. The backup is, of course, just using what the game wants you to use. Another launch, which didn't really work in my favor. There we go. That's better. Alright, here, so we want to go over there with... Alright, this probably won't work. Alright, we're going to go back, because up here there is a little optimization that we can do, so we'll head back. So the automation for this little strip there is that it sends us into those springs, but what we want to do is try and avoid going into those springs. So when Sonic gets taken up there, we then want to go over to Tails, see if he can do that. I'll get back to you on that one. So hopefully all the characters will come along here. That's Knuckles. We're over there now, okay. Basically, I'll show you what it looks like in a run. We want to be breaking the automation so that Tails doesn't get hit by the spring there, and he can just fly over. This is a good backup.
Anyone see a way forward?
Never mind. This is a good backup. We want to head for this spring. And Tails would have already got us over here by this point, but if you don't, you got to switch over to Sonic. Make our way over here, and then we've got a big launch here, so you don't have to jump off that ledge. Because his momentum just carries him forward there, technically we get the double jump, but we don't jump. We don't do the first jump on the ground, if that makes sense. So that was quite safe for us in the end. And then everybody eventually joins us, RIP Tails. Then we want to head for a little crevice in the rocks, so we can do, for a little optimization, we can head over here. And then we want to land on that little wooden decking over there. So we just can do a little dash there. And into this water section. Now, depending on how fast you got over here, the cycles will be different. So we want to avoid taking the ramps if we can. And we want to avoid getting hit by these things. So just playing it safe there. These wooden wedges are particularly awkward, especially this one. It can get you trapped super easily. Avoiding all of these, yada yada yada. And then roll with the shoulder button here so that we can change our direction super quick. And talk to Cliff. Hop on board. Cutscene that we can skip. And then this is when we're given the freedom of the game, pretty much. So, yes, avenues are open to do pretty much whatever. And we are in the big hub bod. So what we're going to do first is make our way over to a sequence break, like a complete break of the game. We are going to do something very unintended. We're going to do two things very unintended. One is fairly inconsequential for the run. It saves quite a bit of time, but it's not a must. It's not a run killer, unless you really want the time save. So basically, hub world is broken. You're going to be wanting to do as many of these as you can, and quite often one of the fundamental things for this is that the menu will quite often lag. So quite often it's good to kind of like let the menu just load in and then try and do a jump from it. But yeah, you want to go fast, so you don't want to be on the menu for too long. Welcome to Obama Skip. So this is Obama. The general cues for this, it's you just got to practice it to learn it pretty much. But oh, Knuckles, that's gross. We kind of move in. We notice that there's a little trigger, well, not trigger, there's a little kind of stutter as we get in there. And we want to spin dash with Sonic, switch to another character, and then switch back to Sonic whilst he's effectively beyond or within this guy. So he's got a very strange trigger area. So we're probably in a safe spot here. So what I'm going to do is press X. I'm going to go over to Knuckles and then go over to Sonic. And then that's us through. So you don't need to worry about him like being beyond Deplorable Stink or whatever he's called. He just has to be kind of beyond a little, I don't know, if you imagine some kind of force field. Yeah, you just go through that. And then we're through here. We want to walk forward a bit, which we already did, to load stuff before we start trying to do any more of these. Wow, that'd be great if I could do those in runs. That was quite smooth for once. We make our way through here. We want to head over here with Sonic as much as we can, and then we head to Tails before we go over here. Tails' way of going fast. Well, this guy shuts up. So his way of going fast is using the trigger buttons. You won't really need to use that an awful lot apart from in this section. He won't go anywhere if you use your trigger on the corners like this. So you just let him do it. So we head over here. My way of doing this is hitting the fly early. It doesn't always work. Sometimes you gotta just keep on going. And then we want to land here. Now the hit for, well, the kind of collision for this is very funky. So I generally just try and aim for this. And yeah, it tells us just having a good old time. He knows he's safe. So our path, our trajectory is this. So we've got to fly with Tails over here. You can see that he's already walking on something. It's even got a slight kind of edge to it. And then we head in between these three. So I'll try and keep the camera like this so you can see. So there we go. We've landed on here. This is where our next bit of collision is. And then we've got that little rock, sharp rock down there that we can see is where we want to head to. Next, there's collision really high above that. And then we just go over to the trigger here. I'm not going to go over because I want to show what it looks like super fast. So I'm going to switch over to... Never mind, I'm not. I'm going to go with Tails again. We'll just give it another go.
Sorry, fellas. Fastidious Beaver is in no mood to talk right now. Perhaps another time will be more advantageous.
Wow, that's really good. Right. So, slight awkward angle to start off with. The camera will fight you for this. You just got to fight back. Tails can still grab onto the ledges. And then even if you don't actually grab onto the ledge, you still hit the trigger. And you are into Creeper Gorge. So that is skipping a lot of stuff. You want to do that. And then this is where all of my runs come to die.
Something is rising, not falling.
A little optimization here is just to start off with Knuckles. Because he will be who we're using later. Now in this running section, you want to also be holding the direction that you're facing. So here I'm holding left on the analog stick. Mash A because we want to take that mag rope.
That was easy.
What mag ropes? No, that's Mirror's Edge. Anyway. More temple run stuff, more holding the direction that we're going. Avoiding the blocks here. Jumping over those ones. This is a crown that we have to collect. And then this stage splits into the Sonic and Knuckles section and Tails and Amy sections. So the Sonic and Knuckles section is a combination of their movesets, really. But we've got a pause trick coming up with Knuckles that isn't just his infinite jumping. It's something a little bit different that is much more finicky. But does save a lot of time. So cutscene you can skip. And we move over here. So these rocks Knuckles can interact with. And if you pause at the right time, after doing a little ground pound into it, you can shoot yourselves at the wall. Thank you, Sonic. So I'm going to jump up here. And I'm going to pause at around about that time. This might do it. And then hopefully, all being well, this will launch us right up to the top of where we want to be. I'm praying. Yeah, so I'm now initiating the infinite jumping with Knuckles, and this is taking us straight to the top. That is a dream. Glad that worked. Never happens in runs. But what I am going to do is I'm going to see if we can get back down. No, the game is being mean about it. So I'm going to pause and come out and show you hopefully another way that we can do it. Alright, skip that cutscene.
Someone
We're
needs
with
a
Knuckles. That might be a little too early. Yeah, a little too early. And okay, so one of the backups, we've hit both of the rocks there, which is annoying. But we can
gardener.
launch
Guess we can
off.
shoot ourselves at the wall.
I think it's something we can launch off this chest. It's just a different timing to the rocks. This is a thing that you'll see a lot with the launches. Okay, so we didn't get that at all. So, what is the backup? Well, it's exactly what you thought it would be. So it's just infinite jumping with Knuckles. And you'll be able to see, as we put a side by side of how many launches I can do in the space that I'm doing these infinite jumps, that it is actually very beneficial to get that rock launch if you are trying to go and save yourself some time. But this is of course very useful as well. And then we're up here. Now we can't get through here because there is a wall. I don't quite know how the trigger works on this. I think you've got to kind of start from further into where the actual stage is, but our workaround for this is to jump over here. I'm just going to play it safe because the walls are funny. Go through here, break through here, and then we're back where we want to be. Right. So we get a little jump off that rock with Knuckles.
Important safety tip. Land on the stone
And then
path
come over
and
here.
out the vines.
Now you can platform
Awesome.
this
More
normally
killer
with Sonic.
vines. Joy.
Just watch out for
Watch
the
me get all these rings
platforms that
before
end up
you.
going away.
Gotta watch these vines.
Just, you know, follow the direction to that little middle pond.
Creeps me out.
I would have gone there, but the camera had other ideas.
Time to rev the engine.
So of course we can do
I
this.
don't mind plants. I
Again,
do mind
you can just
plants that
platform
want
along
to
there,
kill
or
us.
you can rev up a spin dash. You got to be careful because you don't want to be right next to the edge, otherwise this won't work. So we've done 2 revs there, which should hopefully be wah wah. Should have hopefully been enough if I jumped at the right time.
Stop, drop, and roll.
It's all a big timing thing because of all of these vines happening.
Look, that band of
You
heavy
don't need to
metal
destroy
got
those guys.
rocked.
Those
I
rocks
really
just
don't
got
think you're
blown
as
up
funny
for
as you
us.
think you are.
And yeah, we don't need to worry about anything else in this little section as we go on to the next auto runner. Now, with us holding forward here, because you know we want to go fast, you've got to be conscious of the game just putting you in lanes that you're not in. So we're in the middle lane at the moment, but at some point it will kind of put us into a lane that we don't want to be in, that will end up bonking on. We saw it earlier. We don't want to take that spring there, so make sure we go there. Changing direction to follow where we're going there.
You never grab too many
You'll eventually learn where everything is getting placed here. But yeah, keep an eye out on the next running section. We are going to stick with Sonic over here. Going to hopefully get the right launch over here. And then we want to do what we did near the start of the run. Get another launch up
Target practice.
here. Now, we are going to be heading towards, can't quite see it, but to where that little, you know, grappling section is finishing. And the thing is you don't want to be too... This thing's going to start shooting it. No, it isn't. You don't want to be too far over here. You don't want to be, like, inside this rock. Otherwise, once again, you'll be too close to the side and you won't get the launch that you want. So, right about here's a good position. I rev 3 times. And I don't always get it, but that's alright. This one... There is, you know, a backup. I'm going to try and show it. Okay, great. Okay, well, we can do it that way as well. So, yeah, roughly about this position. I'm going to do 3 here. Okay, that was poor from me. Let's see if we can do it again.
Bottoms up.
So all of this is collision up at the top. Let's try one more time. Okay, so this is the backup. So ideally, we want to get a launch all the way across. I'll show you what that looks like in my PB. So instead, we come all the way over here. Knuckles is here. We can be much safer than what we're going to do here with Sonic. But Knuckles, of course, because of his infinite jumping, we can just jump over there. But this kind of floor that we're on doesn't go all the way to where we want to go. So you can try and do the spin dash launch with Sonic. I'm just going to do this because it's safer and it will get us over there. And then we want to get over to this platform. Now, we can't just go ahead and fight these guys because that doesn't work. So what we're going to do, I'm going to try with Sonic and go over here. That's quite awkward to do, that movement there. But yeah, we need to go over there because it hits trigger. And we can die, I guess. And then we got to get rid of these guys. Knuckles is really not helping right now. I usually end up doing a jump and then pressing X to do homing attacks, because once you do a combo of those, you can kind of do like a finishing move. And once they're all cleared, pow, off we go. When getting over to that spring, Knuckles can do that. Just use his infinite jump. The only thing that you got to look out for is that there is a death trigger, death plane, right kind of next to where the spikes of the thorns are. Make sure you take this path with Sonic here. Another one of these. Okay, we made it. And we head this way. I would have gone a little bit slower there, but that's just more of the fundamentals that we've been talking about earlier on. So we want to avoid these. Now, after this section, we will be forced into the left-hand lane, which we don't want to be in. So we do a quick switch to the right just there. Game automation can break here. It didn't. That's good. To the left there. And we can press A a little bit early so that we don't have to go on the spring to hit that grappling. Make sure we're on the left there, onto the right. Last couple, and then we are onto the Tails and Amy section. This is where things get, well, I mean, this run is interesting from the start, but I'm so sorry you had to hear that. That was horrid. Alright, so with Amy, we want to go up there. Because we don't want to have to try and move these missiles onto this door that they just explained. So there's a little bit of collision here. You have to do a little bit of maneuvering out to the side before doing it. You can clear it, or she will grab onto it. And then this is the path that we want to follow here. So Amy has a triple jump, which is really, really neat. And this is roughly what we want to do with it.
Here comes my arsenal. Here I am.
There is a micro time save here where we kind of reset our jump. Where we reset our jumps on this guy, so that we can, yeah, we gotta have some speed going up to it, but you can make it up to that platform with that, which can be, but it's hard, and you know, people aren't gonna reset over it. And now we're in a fight which we can't skip, and we supposedly can't back out of. But with Amy and pausing, we've got to pause very quickly after we hit this guy, and it sends us up there. Watch that back for timing. Yeah, because you want the enemy to be over there. You want it to be as near to the wall as you can, because if you don't, yeah, you're gonna have a tough time. There is a backup here with Tails, where you know you spend enough time up here with Tails, and then he will help you out. But the best way to do this is just stick with Amy, and then you kind of got to get a feel for this. So the fact that I've stopped now might make it a little bit harder for me. So we want to kind of be hugging. There's a wall on the right. So we want to be on the right side as much as we can, and then we want to delay our first jump for as long as we can. We want to jump off the ground so that we do get our full 3 jumps. So I didn't get my 3 jumps. Looks like I'm going to have another shot at it. There we go. So that's 1, that's 2, That's 3, and then we're onto that one, and we move over to the middle one so that we go straight to the next area.
Get used to that. Whew. What a ride.
Cutscene skip. Camera likes to play with you there.
We have to open those doors.
There is a launch that we can do on this chest, which I'm no good at. Well, I can get the launch,
Tails, we have to activate
and then we got to get onto the platform up there. But if you're not ready for that, this is the best way of getting up. So, collision ends on this one. Well, collision doesn't end. The getting damaged by the spikes ends there. These are really finicky to get up. So, if you're kind of flailing around on it, don't worry, that's very natural. But we want to get up to this top one, and then that's the platform that we want to be getting on. So, triple jump, and we're there. If we had got that launch, we would have just gone straight over to that platform there and skipped having to do that little climb, which is really helpful. And I usually get the launch, I just don't get the final move, which is tedious.
Watch out!
So we are almost near the end of the Tails and Amy section. Tails doesn't really star in this one much, but he will help us out right at the end of this level.
See this coming, did you?
These cannons, really hard to avoid if you really wanted to, but doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Right, so we can see that little eyeball. You can't see the little eyeball. When I unpause, you'll see the little eyeball. That is who we are going to be aiming for. We'll roll forward with Amy, and then we will try and get our next launch, because this is the best place, and this is the best badnik to be trying to do it off. Timing is similar to what we were doing with the enemy earlier in that little arena battle. You kind of want to get it quick. So let's see what we can do. Okay, so we messed that one up in that phase because we didn't kind of come back towards the camera enough. So we've got to kind of hit it and then make our way from underneath that little wooden platform. So we failed it, but that's all right because there are plenty of characters that we can...
The support pillars.
There we go. Plenty of badniks that we can just bounce off there. So that's the rough timing that you want. The fact that we got that twice in a row is handy. So use those timings as reference. And yeah, we move on here. We should have been kind of knocking down those platforms. We'd meet up with Sonic and Knuckles as well, but instead we are just having fun with Tails and Amy. Making sure we don't get hit here, of course. Well said. Then we can skip the ropes here. Sometimes the game's automation can bug a little bit, so I generally, don't try to, because it doesn't really save much time.
I think we know the reason nobody ever comes here.
Worst bit of dialogue in the game.
Starting to think we shouldn't be here. Duh.
It's Amy.
This is all me. Sweet.
Just in case you didn't have enough rings already, there was some, because we are entering a boss battle. We can't skip this cutscene. So, this boss has 3 phases, and they are all kind of copy and paste. He will launch some enemies at you, and then he'll launch some missiles at you, depending on how close or far away you are. He will try and stomp you if you don't move out of his way, which we don't want, because that will slow things down. So, Tails will be our choice of character for this one. So, Tails, when you press X, he can do this. Little enemy guys that'll help deal with the enemies that come up. But if you keep an eye, when the camera switches over to Eggman there, you can pretty much start holding A, and then you will pick up these guys. And you want to throw all of these towards him. And rinse and repeat for 3 stages. But we've now got to hope that the enemies don't have a vendetta against us. They did, but they're a little bit late. So the rest of the team will help out, but it all depends on you to get the initial kind of rope pull on him. Mashing a Y when it comes to those little face-to-face encounters. And then this boss is pretty much 60% cutscene, so make sure that we're further away here. Launch some helpers, camera switches. Oh, Pressed A a little bit too early for those torpedoes.
Oh, I hate buying refurbished missiles.
That one didn't work. So I'm going to hope that the team are doing enough to stop me from getting... Okay, so all the missiles are gone here. So when we dash with a character,
They never go out of style.
when we dash with a character, they're like invulnerable. So
Oh boy.
when we get hit and we're trying to get this guy taken down,
Hey,
quite often the other characters will be like, oh, well, if you're hit, we're not going to bother. So
they made me spill my
um,
drink.
that's one thing for why we are launching the robots with tails, to take care of the enemies whilst we're, you know, trying to do the dirty work. Another case of mashing Y there, face to face, and I think the longest of the preparation cutscenes.
This isn't over.
Okay, so now he launches some of the big guys. So launch some of those. Okay. It's never encouraging when he comes up for this, so just keep moving, because that little guy there is like hitting rockets against you, or he's trying to anyway.
Don't worry.
So this guy's probably going to attack me.
Oh boy.
Hopefully nothing else will attack us at that point. There we go. So that's what a really messy boss looks like. That's what the game will throw at you when it comes to that. But if you want to see a clean boss fight, here's a link to one. Nice scarf, losers. And then one last thing that we have to do here is collect that little stone. I do it with Sonic because we are going to be wanting to control him next. Alrighty, Creeper Gorge, well done. You have made it out. And we are back in the hub world. So we're going to be put down where we kind of left off. We're going to be back at that little water area, and we want to make our way back across to where we first got launched after we came off Cliff's Plain. So it's going to pop us near the entrance. We want to kind of go like bottom right diagonal, I think. Yeah, there we go. So go through here, and we make our way back across. Now, this is where we're going to have to do Obama skip again. So, more maneuvering around here. We can see his aura already, his little blue force field. Now, the interesting thing about doing it here is that we can kind of... You see where we are? We can actually, like, go inside him for it. So, same thing again. You can switch to any other character as long as you switch to one of them and go through like that. Now, the side effect of that is that, in principle, when you react with him, that will load in textures for what is around here. Now, you can't see it because the textures aren't loaded in, but all the collision is still here. So, if we walk around here, we can't go any further along there because there's a wall. Oh, there's stuff that we can't... Sonic, you idiot. So yeah, like if you're thinking, oh, well, the exit's over there, we can just... If I'd walked all the way, that would have been a miracle. But yeah, you'd think, oh, well, the exit's there, why can't I just... Yeah, that's because all the collision is added in, but the textures aren't. So we have still got to follow this loose stone path. So you can kind of do this around. The camera will fight you. It still continues to fight me. But of course, it's much quicker to do those skips than to have to see like the minute-long cutscene. And now we're back pretty much where we first kicked off in this hub world. We now want to make it over to that big stone pillar over there. So with the vast expanse, we want to try and make the most of these spin dashes things. Spin dash launches, that's what I've been calling them. I don't know how accurate that is to the lore. The speedrun lore. We can skip that cutscene, and we are now onto Sky Citadel. Now, if you don't know what you're doing here, you could probably spend, you know, an hour trying to work out how this works. I think a few brave and potentially foolish people would try doing this just based off watching it once. But you know, more power to those people. Wink, wink. Right, we start off with Knuckles, and these platforms collapse. So we want to try and do things somewhat fast along here. So this is... I generally just walk, and then, you know, if I'm at risk of something falling, I just jump. But skip cutscene there after we hit that rock. And then another cutscene to skip here. So we want to head up to where that blue spring is, which Knuckles can do if you time things well. So we did a little pause there to kind of try and help out. We don't want to be up here. But if you time things right, you shouldn't even have to. Why won't they shut up?
I never give up.
Even if I...
Echidnas don't. Ever. Never, ever, ever.
More showing me, less telling me.
Right, they've shut up now. So with this move, with that little additional bit that he can get when I press Y, we shouldn't need to do a pause when going up to this spring. So we just got to time it well, which we are not doing right now. There we go. Then we do need to do only one of them there. I pressed X instead of B, so what I would have done there is that when launching. Anyway, potato, whatever. So we want to hit those two there. Nothing's coming out of these light guns at the moment, but they will, because Amy has conveniently set herself up there.
I think we need to do this one first.
So coming off of that rope thing, we should do that because that's good for getting rid of those blocks in an instant. And then here we want to do a swing with X because that will get rid of everything pretty much. So I'll do a jump and Y here, and that gets rid of that. Then we want to go down here,
2 more to go.
and that wasn't a very good showing of it, but when you take a boost, a little like boost ramp thing of those, you can kind of conserve that momentum as you do a triple jump with Amy, which can send you up a couple of platforms a little bit quickly if you need them. We're going to use X again to do these swings, gets rid of them all in one motion,
The door won't open.
and then get used to this with Sky Citadel. We're going to be doing it a lot. So we're heading up to this podium with these boxes. These are the last couple that we need to get rid of. Again, we want to press... Okay, that didn't quite do it, but we want to do... Whilst we're in midair, we want to press Y, and that will usually get rid of both of them. Hopefully this will get rid of... Oh, yeah, there we go. So that shows you pretty much what's supposed to happen. We skipped cutscene then, we're going to skip cutscene
Okay,
here.
Here we go. Let's meet up on the other side.
And then with Knuckles, a little bit of a scary leap of faith here, but you want to aim for just below this blue orb thing. You're going to have to do it blind for a little bit, but we kind of move over to the right. Nice bit of menu lag there. That's alright, we can recover it. And we're aiming for this platform that we can see up here. Knuckles will grab onto it, and we don't have to do another jump there. Moving up here. Skip another cutscene. You'll see what I mean about the conserving the momentum as we're going into our jumps. We're going to do that again here. And then more of the same with Knuckles. Then we don't want to take the springs there because they are not beneficial. But we take this spring up here.
Oh, the crystal is locked and protected by lasers. Super. Oh, didn't see that coming.
And then we head over here. Don't really want to get hit. There is a little launch that you can do with Knuckles, a bit of tech which hasn't been incorporated into the world record, but another optimization. So we now have to do a lot of blind movement because ahead of us is a platforming challenge. You can't see it. So we're going to have to be doing a lot of those jumps with Knuckles. Because actually, a lot of this ahead is bottomless pits, which I'm sure you'll be really encouraged by. So from that platform, we get into the sun and we just want to be heading forward. Your little visual cue is that little bit of grass on the right, and we'll see a little bit of grass on the left in a bit. So you want to kind of be above it, but you don't want to be like, you know, in orbit compared to it. You see that little bit of grass on the left? As it's about to go off screen, you can afford to drop down and then you're here. Now, this next part is worth knowing about because if you don't, you could be in trouble. So we want to keep on running forward, and then at some point Knuckles will start falling. You want to jump and then do a press X, do a ground pound, and pause when you start entering that. So we've done that, and that brings us on to, you know, the other side of that gap. So keep going forward, and we can see that we have hit a wall. Now, if we want to jump up there, you can see that there is a rope here, which is not what we want. Like, it can get us to the end, but we can skip it. So, Knuckles, in his infinite jumping ability, we head towards it and then start heading left. I use a queue of doing 5 jumps to get to this mag rope. So, we are going to head over. Okay, we've only just broken out of it. So 1, 2, 3. Could probably do 4. No. So I'm going to recover this. I'm not holding any direction at the moment because we were in the right spot. Just going to make sure I get enough height. And then we're onto a rope. I can't get off this rope now. I would go back and show you it again, but that is what you want to do. You will end up in different spots. This is the movement that you want to do when you're on the rope, so you need to move over to the furthest one to the right and then not move when the second one shows up. And now we can actually platform on some actual platforming. We can get onto the rope early. We don't need to land on that platform as such. Then we can do a jump off this. Badnik. He's not in action. We can punch the button in midair, apparently.
I'm gonna need a barf bag.
And then after this, we are actually on to the last part of the game.
Everyone, we have to reach that plane. It's our only way
More
out.
mag group action.
Get me there. I will fly it. Sonic, lead the way.
Likewise again, we don't need to hit that spring if we're smart about it.
Behind.
City guys. Next is tired.
Do your thing.
We can skip having to do that second one there if we hold left
The plane.
and then press A at the right time. And there we go. We're now on to Lyric's Lair. This is a culmination of everything that we've kind of seen earlier, and it is a gauntlet. This was massive, massive run killer. There's one jump in this stage that just freaked me out for the longest time, but hopefully I can help you navigate this. Because some help is very, very appreciated for this stage. So, cutscene that we can skip, we want to go to Sonic. If you switch to Sonic before the end of the last stage, more power to you, because that helps you out. You need to break these boxes to activate these springs. Then we want to get over to this guy. So we want to do another launch with Sonic. This one is tough on the timing, but yeah, you'll find a feel for it. That might be good. No. So you'll see there was kind of like stars coming out of him, which I thought the first one would have done it. I think we were probably just a couple of frames off. But yeah, you want to get a launch off that guy. These sections can be quite tight. We want to move left as soon as we can there. I don't know whether we can... Wait, okay. Let me just see if we need to do a jump here or not. No, we don't. Okay. Then you don't want to hold right immediately coming out of this spring. The game's already forced me there. That's all right. We hit that. And then we keep going. We don't want to hit that rope. We just want to keep on running on this platform. We hit that rope, however.
Avoid the lasers.
I'm avoiding those little ring things because they give slowdown. I'm explaining this brilliantly. Alright, cutscene to skip there. These platforms go down. And then another launch with these. if we get it right. That looks good. Right, and then that takes us over here.
Fully rebooted yet.
Now, in the current world record, Signal Kong does a launch off these. I'll try and illustrate. Never mind. That takes you up to the top. You've got to get the best launch that you can, and then it can get you over that wall, which is very tight. And it does save some time. But instead, we're going to do this. I will try and mention where Signal Kong's skip gets you to in the grand scheme of the level, but yeah, it can save 20 seconds, I guess. I do understand why he does it, but right at the end of the run, are you crazy? Switching over to Knuckles, going up to the wall up here. So if we took Signal Kong's skip, it would take us all the way over here. So yeah, it's pretty handy to do, but every other run just uses Knuckles in that spot. So we get back up here. Let's get that cutscene. Hopefully Sonic will join us because we will move over to him here. He's not going as quick as he could, I feel. I don't think we got the full effect of that booster. Game just does that sometimes. We want to be Sonic here because he is the quick guy. So reminder that rolls make you invulnerable. So I've activated that. These guys want to come and fight us. That's alright, because this guy here doesn't, because he's not activated yet. We do another launch.
He obviously doesn't know us that well.
And then we come over here. We need to activate this part of the level, but we don't want to go down it, because that takes us on a whole sequence that we don't want to do. We instead want to use this for another launch. We still want to use this for another launch. Thank you. I'm really glad that that worked. And then we can come over here, and we want to do another big leap of faith with Sonic and his spin dash launch. So do one rev, and then we are over here. That can be really hard to maneuver. Again, just a case of practicing will really help you out there.
Tired of those worms.
We're getting tired of those worms. That's all right, because we've got another launch that we can do. Yay! So spin dash launch across those laser platforms. Way too early. That looks better. Nice. So there are other ways that we can do that. I can't change my camera at the moment, but nearer where we spawned in, there were also those kind of breakable items that we can use. And then the wall that we're on right now, yeah, it's yeah, you can just walk along it. So there are different ways of doing that. Signal Kong attached. We want to fall down here, mash A so that we get back onto the rope. And then we can either try and be stylish with Sonic and get a launch up here as opposed to just using Knuckles, which we're not getting. We might get it there. No, okay, never mind. Knuckles, do your thing. Knuckles is the best bet here. The Sonic attacks are always risky. Excuse me? And what we're aiming for is for this ledge up here. Knuckles will grab onto it when he makes it, which I think he does there. And then we want to go down here and go down as quick as we can so that it puts us on this platform. Sometimes that can just launch you ahead by loads, so sometimes it's good to try and slow down to ready yourself a bit more for that.
I don't like loops.
I want to switch to Sonic at some point along here as well.
This is nuts. Ooh, now I'm hungry.
Avoid all of
This
these.
is what speed looks like. Watch out.
It's funny, all of these lasers, they won't really, they'll be fairly inconsequential later on because the middle ones just don't hurt you for some reason. But we're avoiding all of these blocks because they're tedious. That one can be a hard one to react to. But then we take the rope here as opposed to the platform because it's a little bit quicker. So we're doing a stomp there with Y to hit that button. Likewise here, we can't do it too early, otherwise it won't. Like, we hit the button there, right? Stupid game. Pressing Y for a spin dash there is funny sometimes. I mean X. Those ones don't hit you in the middle, apart from the one that did. And then one last launch. So we're going to go over towards these. And we want to go up here. Start off by doing the middle one of those three. There are three little breakable objects that we could work with. Use the middle one. That will put you in a better position. But you want to get a launch up there. If you don't get it with any of those, you have, of course, have those enemies that were down there. But this is what I was talking about the tough jump. So we want to line up here.
Oops, missed again.
And we want to get 2 revs. And we want to do a jump. Now, we are kind of sandwiching ourselves in between this wall and this abyss. So we head straight, and then we kind of take a diagonal right, upright, which looks like this. And then if we use the right stick to kind of navigate the camera a little bit, we can see the platform that we are trying to land on. Practice this. Really, really practice this. When you hit this checkpoint, doing a like save and restart, as in like going over and doing save and quit, I think it will load in this area. But yeah, I just recommend practicing that section because all of that abyss there, yeah. There is an invisible platform that you can land on, but don't trust it. You just want to get that jump first try. The little walls that we were on, those are, like, you can get on those. And you could technically do a safe way with Knuckles. Takes its time. This guy keeps talking. I'm going to keep on going so that he shuts up. So, as we're coming up to here, we want to mash A, otherwise we get put into a pinball-esque section, and if you know anything about Sonic games, especially recent Sonic games, you do not want to be in pinball sections. And then this is our last stretch of running. Sonic feels like he's going really slow, I don't know why. And now we're at the final boss fight. Cutscene that we can skip there, but we can't skip this one. So for this, we want to go over to Knuckles. Knuckles is our main man for the start of this boss fight. So traditionally, we'd have to go into the 4 different corners of this boss fight. But with Knuckles, we got to go high enough to get over that little force field, high enough to land on the platform there, which we don't. But we'll try it again. This is the point where if you don't do it perfectly, the camera angles will fight you in this game as well as Lyric. So now we are up here. That's the rough kind of clearance that you want. You now want to aim for this. Depth perception is very tricky on it, so if you don't land it, that's fair. The camera likes to play with you there. You have to be very careful. Double jump up onto the top of the ramp. Camera keeps on playing with me. I'm not controlling it. It's forced to where Lyric is. We activate that cutscene. We can skip. We do an intentional death of Knuckles, and then Amy will be our weapon of choice here. So he launches the hammer. We don't want to be in the way of it. We can roll towards him so that we don't get hit. And then with Amy, we want to do pausing and attacking, which I'm not doing a great job of at the moment, but basically it allows us to kind of stack hits, which I didn't do a very good job of there. Again, I will show you what that looks like in a better capacity. But yeah, I'm gonna hopefully get Tails to do some of the dirty work here with his little minions. We don't need to destroy this guy before he goes on to his next phase, so do more of the same. I'm fumbling the bag in this, sorry. But yeah, this is Y and start is what we're doing. And then as soon as A appears above his head, that is time. You completed Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. That was kind of messy, but hopefully it kind of shows what the any percent route is and how to get a decent time. Let's say you were going for like a top 10 time in the game. You just need to get something around the 40-minute mark, which really, for a modern Sonic game category, it's not too bad. This game is broken. It's funny to watch if you haven't seen it. And yeah.
Did you really think you could defeat
We don't need to see Shadow's design in this. You can skip all of this and you can just go straight back into runs. Quite handy that you don't need to do like a console reset or anything. So wait, does that not? Oh no, it does. Okay. So yeah, that was Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. If you've got any questions about it, SSC has a channel for it. I am happy to talk about it. Big thank you to all the runners that have gone before and the runners that will come after. Big congrats to Signa Kong on his 31. Big thank you to Cryptic Jackknife, who still hangs around streams and likes to spectate and help out with this game. There is so much to this game that is wild. All of the other potential categories for this are super, super cool. So do check out the game. If you ever need any help, just let me know. And yeah, enjoy it. Play it casually. See what you think. And then speedrun it, because it's really not that hard. If you're finding it hard, then that's, you know, I completely get that. It is an interesting beast of a game. But make sure you're having fun with it. If you're not, don't run it. Simple as. I'm going to quit yapping. Good luck.